Good afternoon. Welcome to the Big Show. We do the Big Show every single day here at 5 o'clock. We talk about all things Pittsburgh sports, especially when it comes to the Steelers. We actually had some sort of news, I guess, today. Kind of surprising news if you really think about it, just from the standpoint of I'm not sure that locking up a safety was really going to be in the cards for the Steelers, but they've done that. So you look at it, DeShon Elliott, who's been a pretty good safety from the standpoint of he's a pretty good run stopper, 108 tackles. He's a guy that really, if you think about it, has been a little bit of a journeyman. He's a guy who probably, if you think about it, has been, somebody who has not really necessarily been counted on as one of the stars of the defense. He's a guy who actually, in many ways, maybe, you took for granted in some ways. But the reality is now he's under contract with the Steelers through the 2026 season. Actually, he's got a 3-year deal, so he's going to actually be under contract through the 2027 season. But you now have Minkah Fitzpatrick and DeShon Elliott, your two starting safeties, under contract this year and next year. And I think that's going to be, sort of the MO for what they're trying to do with this defense. I mean, they're trying to lock it in so that maybe they have this unit for the next 2, 3, 4 years, at least the next 2 years, and maybe they can actually add, a little piece here or a little piece there and try and figure out where it is or what it is that can get them over the top. But at the end of the day, if you think about it, it's a pretty big deal, if you ask me, because I didn't think that this is what they're going to do. And here's the thing, he's a 6th-round pick, and this is what I think I like the most about him. The Ravens, picked him in the 6th round. He played 3 seasons there, went to Detroit, then went to the Dolphins, and then he went to the Steelers, came to the Steelers last year. But really, if you think about it, he's played 72 games since he's entered the league. It's 64 of those 72 games, he's been a starter. And I think that really now with him and Minkah Fitzpatrick, the Steelers have either the most overpaid and overrated set of safeties in the league, or, they've got two guys that they have put in position to be safeties and to be their guy, so to speak, for the next 2 seasons, and let's see what happens. I'm of the opinion that Minkah Fitzpatrick probably is overpaid and overrated, but I don't think he's terrible by any stretch. I don't think he's terrible by any stretch at all. I think he's actually, a pretty good player. I just think that when you look at it from that standpoint, moving out from what he's getting paid, I don't know that he's a guy that you necessarily need to pay that much money to, but now if you look at it and you think about it now, at the end of the day, they are paying a lot of money for their 2 safeties. And we could sit here and, kind of laugh about it because we've been talking about how they need to get better in the secondary. Well, now I think they also need to get better, at corner. But the reality is, if you look at their secondary right now, DeShon Elliott and Minkah Fitzpatrick make about $26 million between them. You add to that the fact that they had to pay Darius Slay 10, that's $36 million. The one good thing is Joey Porter Jr. is on his rookie contract, so he's not basically costing, he's costing $10 an hour or something, basically, if you think about it. Where he's down here somewhere in the Joey Porter Jr. Actually, he's actually making a little bit more than I thought, $2.6 million. So basically, Joey Porter Jr., you add him in, they're basically paying about $39 million for their secondary. But 23 of that is Minkah Fitzpatrick. And that's, where I tell you, it's a little bit weird to me a little bit weird that they're paying $26 million for their starting safeties and they're paying $13 million for their starting corners. Now, again, that's going to change a little bit, okay? Whenever they that's going to change a little bit whenever they basically have to pay Joey Porter Jr. But to me, I think it's one of those situations where it really is imperative. To me, I think that they get the bang for their bucks out of these things because, you put a lot of money into your secondary now. And obviously it's a little bit skewed from the standpoint of, well, Joey Porter Jr. is not making much money, but, in a year or two, I think it's next year, they're going to have to pay him something, like really pay him something. And if that's the case, you've already now, you've now got $22 million in Minkah Fitzpatrick. You've now got also, it would be, let's see, $4 million in DeShon Elliott. And so I just think that, man, it's one of those things where you have to be careful because, again, the Steelers are basically in a situation right now where they're spending a lot of money on their defense. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where it's just got to be careful because sooner or later they're going to have to start paying their offense. And so I feel like when you talk about it that way, they haven't paid their offense in a long, long time. The closest they've come, really, they're not even paying Aaron Rodgers. If he makes the $19.5 million, it means they've won the Super Bowl. His base salary is like $10, $11 million at max. So really, if you think about it, you've got a situation there where, I have to be, looking at the contracts coming up. They've given, obviously, DK Metcalf his $30 million a year, so they have spent some money there. But, Pat Freiermuth, relatively, to the tight end market, doesn't make a ton of money. The two tackles are still on rookie deals. Their center's on a rookie deal. Your right guard is on a rookie deal. You gave Siamalo a little bit of money, I guess. Neither of your running backs are making any money. If you think about it, there's not a lot of money being spent on the offense. But sooner or later, it's going to come up where you're going to have to pay the piper or you're going to have to keep passing it forward. But think about this. Their payroll right now, TJ Watt's the highest paid player. It's going to be even worse when he gets his new deal. Minkah is second. Cam Heyward is third. Alex Highsmith is fourth. Patrick Queen is fifth. Your fifth highest paid guy. Your five highest paid guys are on defense. Then you've got DK Metcalf. It's pretty cheap this year for $11 million. So your next 3-4 guys are offense, but then you've got Darius Slay. And then after that, nobody makes any money, but your five highest paid guys are all on defense. And I think that if you add up the amount of money that you're spending on defense, you look at some of these guys, Broderick Jones, if he's got a big year, you're going to have to pay him. If he has a big year and becomes one of the best tackles in the league, you're going to have to pay him. Troy Fontenot, you got another year or two to worry about, but still, sooner or later, you're going to pay the piper with him. The $30 million a year for DK Metcalf kicks in next year. Obviously, you're not going to have to pay a quarterback again because it's either going to be a rookie, Mason Rudolph, or Aaron Rodgers for a second year. And none of that's going to cost any money. But I think you've got to be very careful if you're the Steelers. If you get to a point where you are starting to, if you get to a point where you're starting to feel like all of your money is on one side of the ball, that's not good at all. It's not good at all. And I think that's the key when it comes to all of this stuff, to be honest. It's got to be a situation of where you you just have to make sure that it's going to be important that you balance off your money and you balance off your salary cap. And that's what the Steelers need to do. They need to balance things so that it makes sense. But DeShon Elliott today is the latest defensive player that's got his number. He got his deal. I mean, honestly, I still am going to be interested to see what it looks like when they eventually sign TJ Watt. I don't know what it's going to look like, how much it's going to be, any of that stuff. But I do think that they're going to sign him and they're going to put some money into it and see what happens and see where it lands. So to me, if we want to really be realistic about it, the biggest thing is how much money are they going to continue to put on the defensive side of the ball? That's the question. And I just don't know what the answer is there. It feels to me like the money is going to be something that we have to continue to watch. But the Steelers need to understand that teams that are winning are not sinking all their money into defense. They're sinking some money into defense. It's important, but the reality is they're not sinking all the it's just one of those things that I think that the Steelers have priorities that probably are just going to be in a situation where it is now going to be they have to decide what their priorities are. They have to decide what their priority is. And I think that that is going to be the case when we really look at it from the standpoint of, okay, they want to move forward. And if they're going to move forward, then they have to really figure out how they do that. And the way they do it is by paying money to the offensive side of the ball more than they have. I don't have a problem with what they did with DeShon Elliott. But if you're asking me, my personal opinion, I would try and trade. TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick, save about 60-some million dollars under your cap. I think you could find a safety to roughly do similar things to what Minkah Fitzpatrick does. I think you could find an outside linebacker or rush end or whatever you want to call it to add to Nick Herbig and Alex Highsmith so that you could still really get after it and rush the quarterback the right way. I just feel like really these are things that are completely different than what maybe they have been in the past, just because I don't think football is played anymore where all of your money is sinking into defense. It just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. And so I feel like it's going to be very, very interesting in the next a month or so to see what are they going to do. And I think Patrick is an idiot because Patrick obviously didn't hear what I said, which I talked about Metcalf. Would you please get a life, Patrick? Seriously. The bottom line is they're going to have to start to pay all of the rest of these guys, which means you can't keep signing all these defensive guys to these long-term deals. You can't keep doing it. Sooner or later, you're going to have to pay guys like Broderick Jones. You understand that, Patrick? You understand that? Huh? Are you listening, Patrick? Okay, now that my blood pressure got up by a guy who just wants to spout off nonsense, they basically are sooner or later going to have to pay the piper and start paying offensive guys. Sooner or later, they're going to have to pay a quarterback. Sooner or later, they're going to have to pay both of their tackles. Sooner or later, they're going to have to pay one of their running backs and probably another receiver. Please stop, Patrick. Get a life. Okay, now here we come. Thank you. Can you hear me, Sean?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, there we go. We got one of my favorite guys out there right now is going to join us, Sean Robinson. Sean, they get my blood pressure up with some of this stuff sometimes. I don't know why. I'm getting too old for this.
Come on now.
Uh-huh.
Got to take care of yourself now.
I'm telling you, I mean, just one of those things. When I was covering you when you were playing, I was a young guy. I could get excited and upset about things sometimes, and it'd be okay. But now I got to worry about my heart. I got to worry about my blood pressure, everything, man. It's not so good. Anyway, Sean, obviously former Pitt player who is involved in a lot of different community projects and all that other stuff. But Sean, before we get started, I mean, obviously, thanks for jumping on. But one of the things, I mean, you're a very smart guy. You obviously have, a lot of mentoring programs. You have a lot of things going on that we're going to talk about, but you're also still very close to college athletics as a part of it. I'd love to get your perspective as a former student athlete of all these changes in college athletics that, the settlement that just hit right now. Now there's a payroll. Now there's an NIL payroll. Now there's going to be, all kinds of different rules about transferring. I mean, when you played, first of all, when you played, were the rules of such that you could take a job? Like, could you have a summer job? Because for a while, college athletes weren't even allowed to have a job if you were on scholarship, right?
Right. No, that's true. No, I was able to have a summer job, but I think there was a limit to how much I could make. I think my initial reaction, as you start to talk about all the things that happen in college football and college athletics, is that I think I was born at the wrong time. I'll tell you that. I would have been back home, my home little town, Warren, Ohio. I would have been all the little the TV commercials with the car dealerships, the local restaurants as well. It's a lot going on. The landscape is definitely changing. I just hope that it's not lost on the individual and making sure that these young people are being developed for what I like to say, the game of life.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to say to you, because again, now Sean runs a mentoring program, Orange Arrow. It's a nonprofit. All kinds of different ways that they get involved in young people's lives and try and help young people through a number of these different scenarios. You do financial literacy with a lot of these, all this other stuff. But here's what I'm going to say to you.
I'm listening.
I am all for athletes getting paid. I'm all for athletes having freedom of movement and control of their own career. I'm all for that. But I have this caveat. If we're going to call them student athletes, okay, are you really pursuing a degree if you're transferring 4 times in 4 years? Are you really in pursuit of a degree? I'm okay. My view of the rule is this. It should be the first one you get with no questions asked. Nobody can say a word to you. You can go wherever you want to go. And then if you graduate, you can have that say you have another year of eligibility, that graduate transfer year, you can go do whatever you want to do because you've already fulfilled your obligation.
Right.
You transfer after your freshman year, and then you transfer after your sophomore year. I'm sorry, you should have to sit out. That's just me. Your first one, good. You know what? You made a mistake, or we found someone else, or whatever. You can go get more money for NIL here. But if we're going to call them student athletes, Sean, doesn't the pursuit of a degree, at least on some level, have to be a part of it?
I'm with you there. I totally understand. I'm picking up what you're putting down. The thing is that the adults, the leaders in this space created this. And so I think if there were more rules, if there was more clarity, if there was more structure around this, you want to have these 17, 18, 19-year-old young people trying to figure out what to do. I mean, imagine when we were at 17, 18, 19, and we had these opportunities, these options. Thankfully, we didn't have to make all these decisions in the world of social media and there's a larger light on us. And so I understand the frustration, and I totally get that. I think that's why it's important for the powers that be, those in leadership, to put some structure in place to be able to, bring more direction and clarity.
You're very familiar with Doug Whaley, right?
That's my guy.
Yeah. So I was talking to him about this, and he basically agrees with me on this, that the NCAA was very reactive to all of this as opposed to being proactive. And, he tells a story all the time where him and some of his boys, when he was playing, they were down at the O trying to scrape together $5 to buy a pizza. And they're looking around the restaurant in the O there, and there's guys wearing their jerseys. And it's like, well, how is that fair that they're buying my jersey and I can't even afford to buy a pizza in this place, And of course, in those days, there was probably some off the book stuff that happened in terms of taking care of those guys. But my point is, if back then, and maybe even like when you were playing, if back then the NCAA had said, listen, there's so much money now flowing into college athletics. At some point, these athletes are going to want a little piece of the pie. So why don't we do this? We're going to pay every athlete, pick a number, 15 grand, $7,500 a semester, just money we're going to pay them that they can do on top of their scholarship, their per diem and all the other stuff, right? Their room and board, everything else, we're just going to pay them $7,500 on top of that. Plus, we're going to allow them to make up to, 25 grand in endorsements, whatever you want to call it, NIL, whatever. And then we're going to give the entire collective of athletes 1% of all the merchandise sales, which means, you know what I mean? If you think about it, if they had done that, we probably wouldn't be sitting here, right? Yeah, I don't think we would, because could you imagine when you were playing, if you basically had, 15 grand over the course of a year, $7,500 a semester, plus you were able to go out and, like you said, and Bowser or one of these car dealers that supports Pitt, gives you another 15, 20 grand, and you maybe get a little per diem or a little check at the end of the year for, 2,000 or 3,000 from your royalties or whatever. I honestly think that we wouldn't be sitting here talking about $1 million deals.
I totally agree. I think at that point in time, I would probably say I would be living the dream because of you not having to pay for food because of the per diem, and then also being on a scholarship and the funds on top of that. I mean, similar to our guy Doug, I remember my former teammate and one of my best friends to this day, Brandin Williams. We were scraping I think $6 together to get Antoon pizza over the summer. And I think after his freshman year, he was the first running back to start as a freshman since Tony Dorsett. So he had his jerseys and things of that nature. And we trying to figure out $3 each in order to get $6 pizza. And so similar to Doug, and to your point, I do think that if they would have been proactive instead of reactive, we would not be in the situation that we are in now.
No, not at all. Sean, the other thing, obviously we like to throw this out. There has been a number of people trying to put together the 20th century Pitt football team, like from 2000 on. What's the 22 best players that played at Pitt? And I think the answer is pretty easy for you, right? Like the best player you played with was Larry, right? I'm assuming that would be the answer, maybe, or maybe not. Larry Legend?
I gonna have to say Larry Legend. The other name that came up probably about the same time, but I feel like he don't get as much love is Antonio Bryant.
Yes.
Yeah, my guy AB. And so, just thinking about, I wish they could have played at the same time. Well, I don't know if Coach Harris would have been okay with that, because he might have had a nightmare trying to keep them both happy, though. But I know guarding Antonio and Larry made me in the other corners a lot better player, and also caused a lot of frustration as well. So definitely, I would say Larry Legend, Fitz, but right behind, I got to give it to my guy AB.
Well, it's funny. It's funny at Pitt, a reputation of defensive school and running backs and all that other stuff. You have 3 Biletnikoff winners all since 2000, and Jordan Addison, Bryant, and Larry Legend. But there's some guys I brought up, and I think they're from your era, that I've brought up that I've said I think they should be on this list. One guy is Tyree Young. I know he played very, 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 because he had some issues and everything else.
Yeah.
But when the guy played, he was one of the best players that I saw in 25 years.
He was very talented. I wish we could have saw the full capabilities. Interesting. I'm still really connected with Coach Harris. We golf often. I go out there. He's a golfer. I go out there have a good time. But he actually had brought up Tyree a couple of times and just saying how talented he was. I think they were talking about maybe giving him the ball a couple of times as well. Like, he was a gifted athlete, definitely.
How about Chris Wilson?
K-Dub, that's my guy right there. Still close. Yeah, I mean, I definitely one of the best tight ends to come out of the University of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so I mean, we talk a lot about the big names, Revis, McCoy, LaShawn McCoy, Revis, Aaron Donald, there's a number of guys like that. But I always, because those were like the first group of teams that I covered, I always got a soft spot for a number of those guys that were on those teams. I thought Brandin Myree was a really good running back. I don't know if you remember him.
That's my brother.
Yeah, there's a number of guys from that era.
I got one for you. Gerald Hayes.
Yes, people brought him up too. I forgot all about him.
I'm OG Hayes.
Yes, Hayes. He was good. I mean, he was a good guy. So anyway, Sean, one of the reasons we wanted to have you on is I guess it's Sunday and Monday. You're having a symposium of sorts, and I think it's going to be a pretty good event for people that are looking to intersect teaching and sports, and that mostly means coaches and trainers and people that are around young people. So why don't you first of all talk a little bit about Orange Arrow and what you do there, and also what this symposium's about.
No, totally. Thank you for the opportunity. So Orange Arrow Players Association is a nonprofit I started in 2013, and our mission is to coach student athletes to aim for success off the field, off the track, out of the pool, wherever the playing arena may be. Is really about being more than an athlete. And so part of the evolution of our work, while the heart is still engaging grade school student athletes as well as collegiate student athletes, preparing them for the game of life, we found the opportunity to engage the adults in this space, and particularly where they intersect between, as you mentioned, education and sports. And so this is the second year of our symposium called the Orange Arrow Symposium in Sports, or OASIS. And it's taking place June 22nd through the 24th, right there at the University of Pittsburgh, held at Pitt, always. and really excited about the lineup. So it's a traditional conference-style event where you got workshops, panels, keynote speakers, and to help engage more of a region, that Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia region, our opening keynote is Ohio legend, Coach Jim Tressel.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive that you're able to get him. But what is your overall goal going to be for the symposium? Is it to, just give people knowledge, basically?
Yeah, it is a personal, professional development opportunity. Again, for those individuals, whether you're a coach, whether you're in sports medicine, whether you are a principal, because the theme is about how do you create winning cultures and also focus on mental well-being, not only for the mental well-being of a student, but also for the adult. I mean, we have Dr. McCollis Hogan, who's a chair orthopedic surgeon for the UPMC, who is one of the featured panelists. And so while giving tools to help those you're supporting, but also, hey, how do you stay mentally fit, mentally well-being? I mean, you're consulting with the Steelers, the Pens, UPMC all over the place. Like, what are you doing to take care of yourself in addition to being a father and things of that nature? And so the ultimate goal is really to be a resource to those individuals at that intersection, because we believe that the better the adult, the coaches, those in leadership, the better for the student athlete.
Well, my question there, I mean, you said some of the teams in town are also behind what you're doing, correct?
Yes, definitely. So, I mean, University of Pittsburgh, some of the universities as well, from Carnegie Mellon, and then also Pittsburgh Steelers has been a tremendous support as well. So I'm appreciative of their continued support and elevating this effort.
Now, will you be speaking at this, Sean, or are you just sort of facilitating it, or what is going to be your role?
I'm really excited that I am going to be interviewing Coach Tressel. I'm going to be interviewing Coach Tressel on that opening day. He has a really cool podcast all about the team. So I feel like I listened to every single episode in preparation for this conversation. Well, it's all about the team. And so, yeah, I will be the moderator or interviewing the one-on-one interviewer with Coach Tressel on Sunday.
No, that's good. That's good to know. I mean, like I said, I think it's really important what you've done. And honestly, with Orange Arrow, I mean, you've touched a lot of lives. You shared with me a story about, was her name Kayla? I mean, this is why you do it, correct?
Yeah.
Stories like that. Why don't you give us that story a little bit so people get an idea of what you're doing?
Yeah, so Kayla is a former intern. She was a student at Pitt. She interned in 2017. And we spoke after a few years, literally probably like 3 hours ago for a while. I see her dad every once in a while because her dad works at the university. And so since then, she's gone on to do great things. She finished law school in Wyoming, and now she's back in Pittsburgh working. So she's attending the symposium. And before I got off the call, she was just so appreciative of the opportunity and the foundation that we helped lay for her in her growth and her professional and personal development. She actually said she's been in a number of internships, and Orange Arrow was her first one, and by far it was her best experience. And I know she's telling the truth because every time I see her dad, every once in a while when I see him on campus, he brings it up to me. And so just like Kayla, and then the list goes on and on. I mean, I think of my guy Jared Wayne. Jared Wayne was a former student athlete at Pitt, now with the Houston Texans. Jared was an intern at Orange Arrow. And this past season, the NFL have a campaign, My Cause, My Cleats. And so that's good opportunity for the athletes to be able to highlight, a charity that they want to bring more awareness to. And out the blue, Jay Wayne gave me a shout and asked, hey, I would love to highlight Orange Arrow for My Cause, My Cleats. Man, I said, man, you didn't even have to ask me, but I'm really appreciative of that opportunity because it's really not about me. It's bigger than me. And so individuals like Kayla, Jared, and others, I mean, this is why we still do the work.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I think it's tremendous. And I think, guys like you really over the course of, 30 years now, me covering sports. Wow. Guys like you are the guys that sort of keep me going. The young guys that I watch kind of grow up and really give back and really be a part of the solution as opposed to trying to be a part of the problem. I mean, I think, I joke with you pretty much every time we talk that sooner or later you're going to go out and like get a job and make all kinds of money and be rich. And you're right. Like, yeah, that's not my mission, right? I mean, your mission is to help young people.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, my goal is for this world, this society, this place to be better because I lived here. I'm not sure if I even shared this with you. It was early on in the development of Orange Arrow, now that we're in year 12, where I had an opportunity to pursue a position within the front office of the Chicago Bears. And so I decided that I turned it down because I said, I'm actually walking in my purpose, my mission, and I want to see what I could do with this. And so, I mean, who knows? I would probably never make Kayla, Jared, and the other hundreds, now young people, thousands now that I would been able to help support through this work.
Game's always on at Archie's. Get down to Archie's on Carson Street. Archie's, home of 80-cent wings. Monday through Thursday, home of the Paul Zeise grilled cheese sandwich. So go down there, try the grilled cheese. Tell Archie you love it. Tell Archie I said hello. Sean, before we let you go, before we move on here, I'm assuming there's a website or something that people can go to if they want to get tickets for this event coming up next week.
Totally. orangearrow.org. So orange like the color, arrow like born arrow.org. Again, Sunday, July 22nd through the 24th at the University of Pittsburgh, H2P.
There you go. Hey, and I always remind you too that you made the biggest play of that Insight Bowl. Even though every time we watch the highlights of that Insight Bowl, it's Larry Legend making that diving catch into the end zone. Right? Yep. We've seen it a million times. That wasn't the most important play of the game. The most important play of the game was your punt return for a touchdown. And I think it still to this day might be the only punt return for a touchdown in a bowl game by a Pitt player. Am I correct by that?
Well, so now I am still the first to do it.
Okay, you're the first, but someone else did it?
Yes. Okay, let's see. I'm going to throw it back to you. So you talked about some of the top receivers that come out of the University of Pittsburgh. This person who did it played receiver, and he's still in the NFL. How about that?
Wow, let me think about it.
I got another hint if you need it.
Go ahead. Give me one more hint.
He's from the Pittsburgh region.
Is it Jonathan Baldwin? No.
He's still playing.
He's still playing in the NFL.
Yeah. Ooh, I got you, Mr. Zeise.
You got me. Wait, I got to think about this for a minute. Oh, my goodness. Give me a team.
How about this? Oh, so how about he was drafted? I get a team he was drafted by. He was drafted by the Bengals.
Oh, yes, from Clareton.
Tyler Boyd, TB.
Tyler Boyd.
There it
There
is.
we go. Oh my goodness, Tyler
Yep.
Boyd! I forgot all about him, and he's still playing. And the worst part about that, he played with my son. I should know
wow.
this.
Come on, man.
My son was a
This.
receiver. My son was still a receiver when Tyler Boyd was there.
That is right.
And he returned a punt for a touchdown. So two of you.
Two of us. Yeah. But you can never take away that that I was not the first. So I am the first, though.
You were the first. Yeah. And Tyler Boyd actually played. My son was on those teams with Tyler, with at least two of the teams with Tyler Boyd, and then he went to the NFL. And as he was leaving, my son, they moved him to defense. So I forgot he's still playing too. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it really is.
It's got to be about 10 years, 11 years in the league now, something like that. Maybe not.
Like that. Sneaky. It's like a sneaky 10 almost now. Yeah,
I bet you. Yeah. He's not with the Bengals anymore, though. Where did he go?
I think the Titans. Don't quote me on that.
There was some discussion that the Steelers were going to grab him.
Oh wow, that'd have been nice.
Remember when he was a free agent, or was it last year? I think, or the year before. When he was a free agent, he actually met with the Steelers, and they didn't sign him, and mostly because they felt like he was more of a slot receiver and they were looking for like an outside guy.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean? But I mean, if you think about some of the guys that have played at Pitt. I mean, forget about going back to the classic era. I mean, we talk about all-time teams. I think Pitt's all-time team would beat any all-time team, or it would be there with USC and Notre Dame would be like the three, maybe Miami of Florida. Those would be like that. But forget about going all the way back even to like the Dan Marino era and all that other stuff. Think about, the last 25 years.
Yeah. I mean, I'll put our squad up against anyone. Definitely.
I mean, you've got 3 Biletnikoff winners. You've got guys like Aaron Donald. I was actually golfing down at the shore, with just, randoms. And they were like almost laughing at me when I said that Pitt, you know what I mean? So then I started naming all the guys that went to Pitt, and they're like, oh, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that, right?
Yeah. Do not let that. We haven't been to a national championship in a while fool you. We definitely produce top-tier athletes. I mean, you talked about Revis earlier. I mean, one of the best punters, Andy Lee, my former teammate. Shout out to Andy, made a few Pro Bowls as well. Yeah, so even specialists. So I put us up. I mean, Shady McCoy, the list goes on and on. Barlow, the list goes on and on. Lusaka, we got some players now.
Curtis Martin.
There it is. Come on now. How much time do you have?
Yeah, but that's the whole point. Yeah. My argument, and I will say this, though, and you probably might disagree with me, but I'll leave you on this.
Let's go.
Because this is kind of fun. So the first year I covered Pitt would have been 2002. So from 98 to 2002, I covered West Virginia, and then I moved over to the Pitt beat. The reason I bring that up, from, 98 till now, I say the best season a Pitt player had was not Aaron Donald winning all those awards that year that he won all the national awards. Was not Larry Legend, who when he should have won the Heisman in 2003. It was LaShawn McCoy in 2007, okay? Because here's the thing that people that didn't follow the team didn't really realize about this team, okay? So they get Pat Bostic, he's a freshman. They have Bill Stahl. They had another guy who left, and they had Kevin Smith, who was like a total project that they were hoping to redshirt for a year or two. They took him from Seneca Valley, ended up having a great career as a baseball player, by the way, with the White Sox. But he wanted to try football, and he had only played maybe 8 games at Seneca Valley, but he was a big, freakish athlete. So they said, we'll bring him in and see what we can do with him. Right. So Pat Bostic leaves training camp. He was a freshman, leaves training camp, gets homesick or whatever, goes home, comes back the last week of training camp. So basically you've got now Bill Stahl, a guy who wasn't at training camp who's a freshman.
Right.
And Kevin Smith, who's a guy who was a complete project. The second play of the first game, or like the third play of the first game, Bill Stahl is pulling out, taking the hike, taking a huddle up under center. Yep. He gets his thumb caught in the guy's belt, and it tears his thumb. So he's out for the year. So now you've got a freshman who wasn't at training camp, who, basically was just trying to get his bearing, and a guy who really played like 7 or 8 high school games that really wasn't ready to be a quarterback. And so by the third game, actually, I think it might have been the second game, second or third game, they figured out they could not throw forward passes, basically. So they basically, against Michigan State, come up with this great idea. Let's just go to the Wildcat and direct snap it to LeSean McCoy.
Yeah.
So the entire offense was carried by LeSean McCoy, and every team they played, including West Virginia at the end of the year, the 13-9 game, they all knew that it was basically going to be LeSean McCoy carrying the ball. Yep. And he still ran for like 1,500 or whatever it was, 1,600 yards, right? And actually, the most ironic thing of it all is they would have made a bowl game that year if on the goal line against Navy, Matt Cavanaugh had just handed it to LeSean McCoy once or twice. Instead, he threw fades to Darryl Strong and Nate Byam. And I remember that game. But if they just handed it to LeSean McCoy, who had like 200 yards that night, right?
Wow.
Or even Conridge Collins, who had like 130 yards that night. If they just hand the ball off, they make a bowl game, despite the fact that they couldn't throw the ball. They couldn't. It just, nobody was scared of their passing game. They had no fear of, and every team played like 9-man fronts, and LeSean McCoy still ran wild. That's why I say Aaron Donald was really impressive his year when he won all the awards. I get it. Kenny Pickett, the year that he did his thing and they won the ACC, I get it. Larry Legend in his Heisman year, I understand it. The best season I ever saw turned in over the last 25 years at Pitt was by LeSean McCoy when he was basically a lone ranger in the backfield. Every team designed to stop him, and they still couldn't. What do you think about that?
Shout out to Shady. I mean, you made a strong argument there. And hearing you speak as if the season was last year is like really incredible. And so it makes me think of our mutual friend, EJ Borghetti.
Yes.
So EJ needs to be on your podcast. So y'all just need to tell stories and let me know so I can tune in and listen.
Well, we're going to do that. We're going to do that sometime. And, we've talked about doing that. And now that he's becoming, he's going from one role to where he's going to be up now over here, with the Cathedral of Learning. Now that he's going to be high level, he might be able to do it. And we will have some incredible stories, but we listen, EJ and I shared a lot of time in the press box where I would do this and look at him like, EJ, did I just witness that? You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing, right? And that Navy game, it was a Wednesday night game. I'll never forget it, right? They had, remember Jeff Otah, the tackle, and they had Mike McGlynn, the guard, right?
Yeah, from Ohio.
They had 2 guys who were NFL players.
Totally.
At guard and tackle, and they were just snapping these Navy defensive linemen in half. And Conridge Collins and LeSean McCoy were just running downhill. I think they both averaged like 5, 6, 7 yards a carry. It was ridiculous, right?
Yeah, definitely.
They get into overtime. Navy kicks a field goal. So now Pitt gets the ball. They get to the 2-yard line, right? It's now 3rd and goal from the 2. I'm like, this game's over. It's going to hand it to McCoy or hand it to Conridge Collins. They're going to run behind Oda and McGlynn. They're going to blow them into the end zone. They're going to score. It's over.
Right.
3rd down. They throw a fade to Darryl Strong, the tight end, Darryl Strong. They throw a fade to Darryl Strong, which, again, let's go back to the context of it all. You had a quarterback who wasn't very good at throwing, and you decided to throw it as opposed to handing it to the 2 guys that were just killing them. And then, okay, surely they're going to run it here. Surely they're going to put the ball in their best player's hands and let him win the game. No, they threw a fade to Nate Byam, who was a true freshman at the time.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yes, and then ended up losing the game. That's one of those games where I looked at EJ. I'm like, EJ, are you kidding me? Now I'm going to have to write mean things, and they're going to be all mad at me, right?
Awesome.
Anyway, yes. Sean, I didn't mean to keep you this long, but I really appreciate it.
Awesome. I really appreciate you. I thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for your continued support. I mean, it's been decades now, so I really appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We hopefully we'll do it again very soon, right?
Sounds like a plan. Orange
and
arrow.
Let's try and get out and golf soon. Right?
You beat me to it. We'll make it happen.
We'll see. Well, Adam Gunn golfs. We'll get one other guy. From the. We'll get Adam Gunn, you, me. We'll figure out a little foursome. We'll have a good time.
Walt, Coach Harris. That's all.
Walt, that would be great too. I love Walt. That would be great. All right, my man.
Appreciate you.
All right, we'll see you. Have a good one. Look, that's Sean Robinson, obviously a great dude. I think anytime I can highlight a guy like that's doing the right things, I like to do it. We talk a lot about the Steelers, but right now we've got some time to talk about some other things. And there's a guy who I covered when he was in college. He was a leader back then. He's doing some great things, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that a little bit. Just one of those things. Okay, we will do it again tomorrow, I'm sure, and we will have a good time. Hopefully we'll continue to talk about the Steelers. Until then, enjoy your night.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.